my bin's still out here on Wednesday. Collection day was yesterday. The reason it's sitting out here today is because I filled out an online form that the council offers. The exterior of this particular bin has got a crack in it. I think I'm on the wrong side here. The actual, I don't know if you can see this clearly, but oh, here it is. You can see there's actually a crack right down the side here of the wheelie bin, and I was a bit worried I might be out of pocket getting that fixed up, but apparently the council will do it free of charge. What they do is there's an online form which I've filled in, and what you do is you just basically tell them what your address is, what the problem is with the actual bin, and what they'll do is they'll arrange a pickup of the old bin, and they might just replace it with a new one, or they might just get it repaired. I don't know how it works. I assume they just swap the bins normally. So I thought I'd be out of pocket and have to buy a new bin, but no, the council do that as a service. There was no mention of any charge involved there. This is my collection of the capsicum plants. I've done some repotting and what have you. Once you repot them, they tend to take a while to actually get back to full strength. So I just realised that this one here is actually a combination of 3 different plants in the one pot, and they seem to be living quite happily together. But the other ones are potted into their own pots, so they've got plenty of room to move and put a bit of compost in there with the cow compost plus the normal mix. So that's going rather well. But yeah, I was quite happy to find out I wasn't out of pocket with the bin. The other good news I got yesterday was Coles did the delivery of my groceries. But one item that they delivered wasn't what it was specified in my order, and that was 24 toilet rolls. And I've done that previously, and they just didn't fill that order at all. This time what they did is they substituted the 24 rolls for 9 rolls of Kleenex. Now I get the generic rolls, which only cost about $9 something for all 24 rolls. The Kleenex ones are over $8 just for 9 rolls. So I wasn't happy with that, because normally substitutions, they do state this in the Coles terms and conditions, that they will give you the equivalent item or at a lower cost. And in this case, what they've done is they've actually provided an item which costs basically almost the same as what I was paying for 24 rolls for 9 rolls. So it's actually wasn't particularly good value at all for me. It was very expensive, and I hadn't ordered that item, and that's a pretty poor sort of substitution. But all I did was I rang them up, free call number, an 1800 number, and I had to wait 10 minutes on the line. I guess they're getting a lot of calls at the moment because of all the items that are missing, so I can understand that. But I spoke to a lady online, and she was quite pleasant. I just needed to get my ID, and once she got my ID and I explained the situation to her, there was no hassle involved. She just said, we'll just give you a credit for that amount on your next order. So basically, those 9 toilet rolls I've got for nix. So it's worked in my favour, them doing that. I mean, that's not what the outcome I was actually looking for. I just wanted to not pay more for the toilet rolls than what I'd ordered per item, but as it turned out, I got the 9 rolls from Nick's. So it was very good of Coles to at least try to get me some toilet rolls. So I'm quite grateful to them to do that. But I certainly didn't expect to get a freebie. That wasn't my intention. I just wanted to basically get it at the same pro rata price. But like I say, I think it's well run, that delivery service. As I say, I'm still waiting for the council to pick up the bin outside, and I don't know how that works, whether they'll notify me via email saying when they've arrived or whatever. I can see from where my computer is in my lounge area, so it's easy for me to look out the window and see when the delivery truck arrives for the coals, and when anybody else that's providing a service is out the front. So it works out rather well. But yeah, I just thought I'd mention as a positive. It's you know, that's one thing in Australia. If you deal with corporates, I've had this with a couple. I had this with Kmart as well, with the pots that were broken. They just gave me all of them free, even though half of them were still okay. So you know, they do cut you quite a bit of slack if you're having any problems with some of your orders, whether it be food or items through say Kmart deliveries. It's good. I'm very happy with that. So whereas when I was in Spain, I had a problem with a broken bottle. The top, I bought some wine, red wine from I think it was the Carafa Express just around the corner from where I was staying, and they wouldn't. The girl there just wouldn't even countenance giving me a replacement, let alone money back. So they just said, "Bad luck, Charlie. If the top of the bottle broke when you put your corkscrew in there," because I had to use a corkscrew over there because they haven't got the twist tops. It was just bad luck, and it just shows you how different it is, say, in Spain compared to Australia when it comes to consumer complaints. We do have a good system here. Here's my new shiny bin. It has a red top and no splits in the actual bottom of it. The guy came round this morning with a van, and he just swapped it over for me. If anything, I might be wrong here, but I got a feeling it might be slightly smaller than the other one, the old one. Very marginal difference, but they say that they're basically downsizing things like chocolate bars, selling them for the same price but with less quantity. Maybe they're doing the same with wheelie bins. It's a possibility in this crazy world. Anyway, I'm going to head down to the beach and get myself a little bit of exercise. Yeah, the ocean looks a lot calmer today than it did on, was it Monday it came down here? I think it was, yeah it was Monday. It looks a lot better. I checked out that vacant block that had been major earthworks had been taking place about a month ago, and I thought maybe they were planning it was a public park or something, but there's no indication on the sign that that's the case. It appears to be private property. It's quite a large block, and it's abutting the actual beach. So not quite sure what that's about, because it just says it's vegetation clearance. That's all that the note says, and then you've got someone else in a subcontractor mentioned. That's about it. There's no indication of what it's about, apart from just clearing the vegetation. There are public parks on that side, on the beach side, and further down. So, but I'm assuming it's actually private land. But we'd love to know what they're going to do with it, because you never understood this. You find areas that are just like vacant blocks in high demand areas, and they're not earning any sort of income. The bizarre of them was actually in Melbourne. It was what was it? Burke? It wasn't. Was it? I think it was a corner of Burke Street and Spencer Street. There was a block there that was vacant for years. A pub had actually set up on the ground, but there was no. It was a multi-story building at one stage, a skyscraper of some description. But all that was there then was this bar, and that would hardly provide enough rental income to justify having a block of land in such a strategic location. But crap like that happens all the time. I was actually able to sell some shares today. I made the princely sum after the brokerage of about $20. So not a great amount, to say the least. So the thing is, I should have sold it about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and because then the price dropped, the bottom fell under the stock, so it's just been hard to get it back at the price I paid, which looked like a low price at the time I bought it, but now doesn't. So now I've got the cash again, which is good. I might even have another dip at it and wait for it to drop down a lot more, and then pick it up at a reasonable bargain price. But you just don't know. This market is pretty fickle and very volatile, so it's a touchy thing to get involved with. They've even having a go at shares like Coles and what have you, and they're getting buffeted about. And my cousin's other half, he basically, he's going to play that stock because he figures if he's left with it, at least they're going to pay dividends. It's a quality stock, and there's some truth to that. I may follow suit, just see if the price of the Coles drops to a ridiculous level. Yeah, why not have another dip? But yeah, we're in for a very rough year, I think. Every indicator appears to be showing that things are going to get worse and worse. Apparently, there's a lot of dire warnings about both the American and just recently the Chinese real estate market is in big trouble. They thought they got out of that Evergrande problem, but they haven't. And now apparently the company that's bigger than Evergrande is also in trouble. So yeah, and Australia will be affected by what happens in China, no doubt about it. So buckle in for a rough ride, I think. I'll just enjoy the peace and quiet at the beach while it's happening. It's Thursday. The bus strike did take place. I was confirmed online. I checked the Sunbus web page, and they confirmed that it had taken place. So today I'm going to go Smithfield. I might get myself a haircut. If I can get one for $25, I'll be happy. We'll just see what I can negotiate there, because that's what I paid at the Spence Street barbers. So the other thing I did yesterday actually was I changed the flight from a morning flight to an afternoon flight to Brisbane. So I find that's much more convenient. So rather than 7 o'clock in the morning, it's now around 2:20 in the afternoon, and that suits me a lot better. And I paid a bit more for that ticket because it was a particularly good sales ticket, so I thought I'd indulge myself and give myself a bit more flexibility. So I can take on 14 kilos on board, so I'm going to take a couple of bags, and rather than having to check in luggage, I'll just have it in the cabin. It makes it a lot easier. So yeah, you can have 2 items when you're actually in the plane. So it's a good system, I think. It just saves the hassle of having to go to baggage collection. So that was quite a simple task to do. So when I do head off, it'll be in the afternoon, not the morning. I don't like morning flights, gotta say. They're not my favourite thing. So very happy to change that. The other thing is it saves me money too, because being out here in the sticks, the only option to get to the airport would have been an Uber or Cairns taxi. So it would have been Uber. I looked at the price was $38 when I checked it out, but of course that was during the day, and their prices vary depending when the trip's taking place, so they can get quite expensive. And if it was like a 5 a.m. Booking, well, you know, that could be anything. So it's going to save me over $20-25 by switching to the day, because I better take the bus right near the airport and then maybe get a taxi from there, you know, where the Harley Davidson place is, and that's a really short trip to the airport and would probably cost less than $10 on the taxi. So yeah, it's a pretty good way of doing it. Saves a bit of money. There's nothing wrong with taking the bus down to the airport anyway. It's near the airport. It's very close to the airport. It's very frustrating that it doesn't stop off at the airport. Unfortunately, it doesn't. So it's my only option. Anyway, I've got to go and get my prescriptions because I haven't heard back from the chemist. They didn't ring me. So I don't know what's happening here. I'm a bit worried that the medication didn't turn up. I think it's more likely you probably didn't write down my phone number correctly, or they just slack and they forgot to ring me. So I'm hoping that that's what it is, and I can get my prescription, pick up some fresh greens. I discovered apparently capsicans have been devastated by weather. The Queensland capsicum crops, which is down the southern part of Queensland, has been devastated. All the capsicums coming from South Aussie at the moment, and they're costing a fortune. Good thing I'm growing my own. Well, that was the proverbial you-know-what show. I went to the chemist just to get my prescription to pick it up, because I assumed that by now the eye drops would be there. And apparently, well, not apparently, the place was actually shut. The chemist, there was some problem with the system. System was down, and luckily they allowed me to go in there, because I said I had a prescription I wanted to pick up, but I wasn't able to pay for it because their computer system was down. And so what they did do was gave me the eye drops and some of my anti-statin pills, enough to tide me over, but I've got to pay them when next week, I guess, when I return here. So it's been a pretty abortive type of trip to Smithfield this time. I got some stuff at Woolworths, although Woolworths had its own problems. The automatic checkout wasn't working, so all the people that normally go through the automatic checkout were lined up to be served by a person, which I normally go to. So there's this huge line, but then it was back online. I don't know if it was related to what's happening with the discount chemists or not, but no idea. Could be totally different issue, but what a day. And I checked out the barber. There is a barber place there. They only had one woman cutting hair, and they already had someone else waiting, so I would have had to wait a while to get a cut. I think the Spence Street hairdressers are a much better deal. The Spence Street barbers. I then went into Shortcuts, I think is the name of the chain, and they charge $37 just for a trim. So, and I think the other place is charging $30, and I paid $25 at Spence Street Barbers. So I think I'll go back there, or might find, I might go back to Spence Street Barbers. I think might be the way to go. So it's been a pretty useless trip, but what they did do at the chemist, to be fair to them, they at least got the eye drops in, which is the most important thing, and they gave me the eye drops as well as some of the anti-statin pills, and I'll pay later. Like I say, that's good. At least they're flexible in that respect. So, but boy, it's like the world is falling apart. You know, the supply chains are on the blink, and payment systems are dying. You know, what is happening? You know, oh boy. And then all the hassles I've had with my overseas trip I had to shut down on. Oh dear, looks like it's going to rain soon. It's not looking good. It's funny, the buses did start again today, obviously, because I'm here and I got myself a return ticket. But the actual eye drops came in just today, apparently. So they were sort of coordinated with the bus strike. It wasn't I to get here anyway, so it made any difference. So look, I did get the bare essentials what I needed today, so I should be grateful for that. But yeah, the world seems to be getting to be a tougher place. And as I say, I think 2022 is going to be a tough year. Anyway, if you like this video, please give me thumbs up, thumbs down, and comment on the video, and support the channel if you could. That'd be great.